All right, so this video is titled "Why Almost No One Can Get into Fighting Games," which is really interesting because as someone that wants people to get into fighting games, I think fighting games are great. I think fighting games are cool. I'm really interested to see the reasons this person has laid out for why people can't get into fighting games. This video is recommended through my Discord. Join the Discord if you're interested in seeing that kind of stuff. But I have a couple theories before this video gets started. One, I think the games are a lot harder to sell because if you play MOBAs, you play shooters, which are like the two biggest esports, or like mobile games, they're all free to play. The best fighting games right now, Tekken, Street Fighter, they cost money, which is hard sell to a lot of people when there's so many free to play games out there. And then the second rationale wise is I think there's also the ego issue, which is like, okay, like I don't have teammates to blame and therefore like I'm gonna get discouraged more easily and that sort of thing. But I'm really curious. Let's see what they say.
When I really started to get into real fighting games. But before that, I mean, I had played games like Mortal Kombat X and
that's
11,
my goat.
In the Injustice 2 mobile game, and Mortal Kombat 2 on one of those 500,001 scam game consoles. Those are cool. I played Brawl at friends' houses, and I played a lot, and I mean a lot, of my own copy of Smash 4 for the Nintendo Wii U. Smash was and still
Smash
is
does really well.
Everyone is always down to play, and everyone just fucking loves. So why does everyone hate these? No, because seriously, hear me out. In terms of gameplay itself, fighting games, generally speaking, are a fucking 11, generally speaking. But in many other aspects, they suck fat.
They dropped the ball so hard in Sparking Zero, man. I feel like the certain games are just bad. Like Sparking Zero, imagine if it had rollback netcode. Imagine if it was free to play. Imagine if the game was actually balanced. People would eat that fucking shit up.
We have to admit it. Fighting games do not teach you how to play. And every fighting game I've ever played does not have a tutorial. It just doesn't even have what I would consider.
Tutorials can be better.
Even have one. Full stop. What do you mean?
But I don't think this is an issue. I know it sounds weird. Go play TFT. Go play League. Go play some of these other games. The tutorials are also fucking trash, bro. And these games are much more successful. I think better tutorials would help. Don't get me wrong. But like, I think this is like a 10% of the issue at most. Like these like tutorials for the other games that are very, very successful are absolutely dog shit. I don't think you understand. I don't think like a lot of games have like truly solved good tutorials, if that makes sense. And like Street Fighter 6 tutorial is like actually pretty decent. Yeah. You have a World Tour mode that gradually eases you into the game. You have combo trials. You have the actual tutorial that for each character and for the actual game. I don't think it's that bad. Yes, it's not like every game, but I don't think this is that much of an issue when you see many games that are successful with like honestly dog shit tutorials.
Dude, but these are garbage for 99% of people, and I can admit that. To elaborate, does this look like teaching? This is Soul Batchai's down medium kick. It is a downward medium kick done by hitting down and medium button. Use it when you want a down medium kick. What the fuck are you talking about? You sound like some stupid ass high school teacher who hates his job and his students. You're not teaching me shit. Instead of sitting there and handing us a freaking list of random stuff, kids in here room, like.
I think the issue is it's just hard because like I don't think we've ever seen like a super good tutorial. I have visions in my head like what a good tutorial would be. But then it's like you can't make it too long. You can't make it too complex because then people will get bored. They'll get uninterested. I don't know, man. I think fighting game tutorials, like it seems easy. Like, oh yeah, just make the tutorial better. But realistically, like thinking about it, I think it's a lot harder to do than people give it credit for. Yeah, and there's games like Under Night, super comprehensive tutorial. But is it a little dry? I think most new players probably don't want to sit through that long of a tutorial. So it's like you have to make it fun and also short and not too comprehensive, but also teach everything. It's very hard. It's very hard.
Why do you think fighting games basically have two subsets of play? You have what I call a casual match forever versus actually learning or playing. Oftentimes when you see fighting games,
that's like every game though, right?
They opt to simply mash buttons and not learn a thing. And while it is true that some people may genuinely just be looking for a pick up and play experience, this style of play is adopted by an abnormally large selection of people who play the genre. Dare I say the majority? It's because of how many people don't want to go through the ladder. A lot of people opt to just
I think in the vast majority of competitive pursuits, most people are playing casual, right? I weightlift or I run or I play soccer. Like I do all these things, but I'm not trying to be like ultra competitive, right? I'm just trying to like, gradually improve, have a good time while I do it and get some benefit from it, right? I think that's like the same with every game. Like, you look at League of Legends and the vast majority of people, they're doing it for fun. They're just trying to have a good time.
Enjoyment through
it's a hobby
because the other option involves long, hard, tedious, boring, strenuous, exhausting, boring.
Well, I don't know what this guy's doing. What the fuck?
Sounds like it would be more gratifying if you're not into fighting games. Like if you're a complete newbie.
This is very dramatic.
Maybe see some cool stuff happen, or going through actual hell to know how to play. We can sit here all day and point the blame at the players for not learning the games themselves, but who are we to blame people for just trying to have fun in the only feasible way they know how? The real truth is that learning these games should be accessible, understandable, and fun, but it just currently fucking isn't for most people. I said that in kind of a mean tone. Like, I'm serious as fuck, but like that, I'm not yelling at you. I'm sorry. Specific example.
Yeah,
you know
I feel
why
like I'm getting
everybody
yelled
rushes
at.
to learn combos? Because that's what everyone, including casuals, like to do. The problem is that games don't teach people when and where to do them. They just try to teach them how to do them versus an idle bot. Here's a video on why combo trials are borderline worthless. Boom, done. And you can call me bitter in this next take, but doesn't part of you feel as though the only people who are at that level with fighting games where they understand how the genre works are only there because they enjoy the vibe of their game strongly enough to get past all these hurdles? Hurdles that, when compared to most other genres, are way higher. If that was true, then the game with the strongest vibe would simply be the most popular fighting game, despite also being very difficult. Oh, wait. It is. Yep. Big Smash. But Smash is just a pop.
I think these points are valid. Like, don't get me wrong. I do think tutorials can be better. I don't think they do the best job of teaching, like, the advanced concepts, of course, right? Like, there's no tutorial teaching how to play, like, the intricacies of footsies, like that sort of thing. But at the same time, like, I don't know what the solution is. That's the issue. So I'm really curious to see if he has solutions.
Fighting game players and non-fighting game players especially, strap in your seatbelts for this take. I have about the same time in Smash 4 and Smash Ultimate as I do in traditional fighters that I've played, all tallied up together. And I can tell you right now, to learn Smash is equally, if not harder than learning these shits, and I'm not even kidding a little bit. Smash is a difficult ass game with just as high, if not higher hurdles than the ones these games are currently making you jump over. But why does it not seem that way? Well, because the vibe of the game drove enough people to get past them. The vibe or allure is the primary thing that drives people to overcome.
Sure, I agree. I think the reason why Smash is more successful than other fighting games is, one, like, it's easier to play casually because you can play with like more than one person, so you can like have your friends and like you can do like free for all. I think that really helps. But it's also like a more recognizable IP, right? Like, everyone knows who Mario and Sonic and all those other characters are, right? And it's also like the basic controls are very, very easy. Of course, at high level, it has a lot of depth, like every fighting game does. But I mean, so does like Street Fighter. Also, you know, you have modern controls and that kind of thing. I don't know. Here's the thing that bothers me: FGC needs to admit that fighting games are harder to learn. Do we think fighting games are harder to learn than like League of Legends or like, I don't know, Counter-Strike? To me, it's like they're equal. I think they're both really hard to learn. Like, I think they're all hard to learn. Hand-eye coordination, but like the thing is, yes, they stress different skills, but like the skills you need to learn to be good at League are also fucking hard as shit to learn. You need to learn what all the champs do. You need to learn what all the item combinations are. I don't know. I can't tell which one's harder. I think they're just both hard. Yeah, exactly. To me, it's like, is basketball or football harder to learn? I don't know. They both seem kind of hard to learn.
Like I said, the other option of actually trying to learn and play the game is like starting a chess match without any of the fucking pieces, and you have to go find where they are using outside resources.
Oh shit, there I am again. Let's go. Wait. Oh shit, 3 in a row? Let's fucking go. That's your boy. Good video.
We need to lower these hurdles because majority of people are just not doing all that. They just fucking aren't. I can deny it no longer. This needs change.
I'm getting
These
yelled at.
hurdles being so high is what causes people to form things in their mind that have become so solidified, not even just in their mind, but in the gaming scene as a whole. Like, oh, the genre is too hard. It takes too long to learn. And then there's more specific examples.
I do think it's like there's a sort of like perception is reality thing where like if people think something is hard, then therefore it is, right? So I do think you do have some of that going on. Also, I like how they snuck in the boobies distract me too much. Someone help me. I caught that. I see you.
Attempt to get over some of these giant hurdles that form like, oh, but you know, specific one. What about the motion inputs? All of these are so easily disputed by someone who's familiar with the genre. I've talked about that before.
Bro, that was cute. He took away the booby one and then he replaced it with the motion inputs. That was cute. I like that one. Oh, I didn't catch that. What the fuck? If you're learning a fighting game, the motion inputs are the primary thing causing you to deem the game as incredibly hard. You simply didn't get far enough into that fighting game to really understand what's going on. I agree. I don't think I've ever said that. Sounds like a Sajamism. I do agree, but like, I mean, you can say that about any other fighting game.
Loose quote. If you're learning a fighting game and the motion enough into that game to really understand what's even going on. And as a guy who understands fighting games, I'm like, yo, talk yo shit, twin.
I guess the only issue I have with this argument is I agree that like, yes, fighting games are hard, but like it's not stopping other competitive genres like TFT or League or CS or any of these other top tier esports from being popular, right? Like, because I think they're also very hard, if not, in my opinion, harder. But like, obviously, I'm biased because I play fighting games, so we'll just say like just as hard. But they're harder in different ways, right? I think it's more the yes, soulless soul. I agree. I think it's the mental barrier because like you're on your own. You don't have teammates to blame. I've said this for a while. Whereas like if you're losing a Marvel Rivals and I lose, I could be like, oh, I just had fucking shitter ass teammates. That's why I lost. All right, GGQ up next. And then if you lose a fighting game, you're like, damn, maybe I could blame the netcode or something. But I think that's the hard part. And that's why I think team games like maybe 2x or my theory is that Marvel Tokon will allow like 4v4 like actual people. I think that actually helps people get into fighting games because like, you know, you don't have this ego component, that sort of thing. TFT and League and CS do not have the burden of execution. The thing is, like, I think CS does have execution in a sense. I know for me, I can't shoot worth shit. Like, yes, I know it's just a button and click. And like, yes, I know like that's a pretty easy motion input. But like the actual execution of CS players, it's arguably more important to have good execution and reaction in a shooter than fighting game, in my opinion, at the very high level, right? Like, have you seen this shit, bro?
Okay,
like, this is tense. He's one of the best like shooter players in the world.
I'm just gonna not even think about it.
Like, to me, this is like, I could never do this, bro. You guys got these? Y'all can do this? Like, I think this is definitely the execution, bro. You don't want to see me play aimland, bro. But that's a level 99% of people don't get to. But yeah, but I'm just saying that as execution, just like fighting games have execution. No one's doing the fucking Sako combo. Oh, only 1% of the people do a Sako combo, right?
Look past and overcome are so jarring just to play these games, man. Like, yeah, I've watched people go from not being able to do a quarter circle forward once to after 20 minutes of practice being able to do it with near 100% accuracy. Yeah, but in a genre where there's a million other hurdles you also have to overcome with no fucking help from the game, even simple stuff like learning that just becomes another annoying as fuck. Even simple stuff like learning that just becomes annoying as fuck and a breeding ground to make excuses to help yourself feel better.
I think like, this guy is a proponent of Mark controls, and I actually kind of
him yourself at some point. Excuses are obviously
I kind of like Mark controls for part of this reason,
but in this genre especially, it's clear things need to change. People love playing Smash because the vibe of all
these. So this is just an argument for Mark controls, and I kind of agree. I like how Street Fighter does it the best right now. Street Fighter and Granblue do it the best, where you have Marn, but you also have like the ability to do classic controls when you get more into the game, right? I think the argument here is, how do we reduce the initial barrier of entry, like Smash? Because in order to do cool things, it's just one button. And I think that's fair. I think that's where fighting games are headed, right? They're all headed towards modern control. Yes, I think the best games incorporate modern and classic controls, like Marvel Tokon and Granblue and Street Fighter. But like, I think this is where the genre's headed. I think modern has helped the player base. I know several people that have only got into Street Fighter only because modern controls existed. I think it's a great thing. And this is part of the reason why. Yeah, Tyler 1 is a great example because Tyler 1 will, even though he's doing basically all the inputs, like he's playing Martin Gao, which means you have to do the charge. That's the hard part. But like, it's just the part of the mental barrier, I think, of like, hey, it makes it a little bit easier. And so like, I'm gonna stick to Martin.
There's so many people who look at fighting games and think, yo, that shit looks sick, bro. But they don't play them. They think the thing we're playing right now is sick, but they don't play it. These games need to rethink their packaging and means to motivate players to learn in a way that's fun, intuitive, and engaging, and it starts right now. Let's fix the current fighting game package to help it flourish. Think of it like fighting games are a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, single player content, bro. There's no defending I see the YouTube title, single player content. There's no defending single player content. Like, there's so many cool things you could do with single player content that we aren't doing. Even World Tour, which is probably like some of the best single player content we've seen, it's still kind of dry. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
And if there is a single player mode that is really fire, let me know in the comments, because most of these games single player content just boils down to you fighting the CPU, which, let's be honest, most people just don't find enjoyable. When someone drops 50 to 70 bucks on a fighting game, they should be getting a full experience, bro. And I understand a lot of this.
Yeah, even Granblue did roguelike too.
Bro. But
it's cool idea. It's just it just feels like there's more potential.
I actually don't mind these, to be completely
or
honest,
like
but I know that
better
other
single player
people
content
just ain't doing all that. Like I'm saying, Smash 4,
like
I just don't think it's
the
fun.
roguelike content in Granblue is actually really cool. It's just not fleshed out. It's just very repetitive, and it's not like much of a roguelike, right? But I think like I actually think it'd be so cool to have like a really in-depth roguelike game or like a fighting game, like where you have like different types of power-ups, different like additional moves you could do, different kinds of battles and that sort of thing. I think there's definitely a lot of potential for good single player content.
People interesting. And now I've seen one good one and one crazy amazing hypothetical multiplayer mode that another YouTuber came up with that I just have to share, bro. But the good single player one, well, would you look at that? It's Super Smash Brothers, bro. Subspace Emissary.
Subspace Emissary is actually kind of fire.
Unique enemies, turn them
this shit, oh my god, I love this shit as a kid, bro. This shit was amazing.
Cutscenes. Everyone knows about this probably. I would genuinely and unironically play this right this very second. Now, Granblue Fantasy Versus, the game I'm playing as this video comes out, that game's story mode is sort of like this, but without dynamic stages. Hence why I said it wasn't bad when
this is kind of like very repetitive,
super crazy, and it wouldn't exactly sell me on the game.
Yeah, this is not.
That to be
it's good. It's like probably above average, but
I've played out of all of the fighting games I've played outside of Subspace. And I really don't want this video to seem like I'm projecting, but I'm bringing this up because I see online so many people talking about fighting game single player content just not being very good. Like, my tier list looks like this. Most people's would probably look like this. And yeah, I understand.
What does my tier list look like? Honestly, I would probably put like everything in ass, bro. Like maybe Street Fighter would be slightly above. Yeah, I think Mortal Kombat 1, I played that. I didn't play through X or 11, but I played through 1. I thought the story was pretty interesting. It's only like 2 hours, but yeah, I'd probably put that like a little bit above. I didn't play through. I thought Roll of Light was actually kind of cool. Too, for Ultimate. Barking Zero story is ass, though.
But while I think about how to solve that, the homie P Jiggles had an idea for a Smash Bros. Battle Royale mode. I hate Battle Royales. I love this idea.
Basically, what I have in mind is a mode where a ton of players get dropped on a gigantic stage. Something like the Smash Bros.
Oh, like Smash. It'd be kind of hard to do for a fighting game, but that would be cool.
Work is that you
Battle Royale Smash.
And when you run into another player, and maybe when you land a hit, the camera would zoom out a bit, and the edges of the screen would then become the blast zones. At this point, you start fighting each other.
That'd be kind of cool.
To launch your opponent into the
there's a lot of cool things you could do with fighting games to like make them more casual friendly. I think it's the point that this video is trying to make, and I agree.
Sign me the fuck up.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very hard to do fighting games single player, and that's why we haven't seen it like amazing. I just think there's potential. And the thing is, like, if you divert resources from the actual single player, then your actual fighting game system, your actual netcode, the other things like the competitive aspect, like the competitive players care about, they're going to be like not as polished, right? Because you're diverting resources from one part of the game to the other. So like it's hard. I actually teach fighting games. All right, I gotta see this one. All right, I gotta see this, bro. You're hyping this shit up. What is the better way?
If this is still a thing, because Reddit said it was all just a ruse to transform the game into a free-to-play cash grab, and that's strictly against my religion. But back in the day, this FPS game allowed players level 1 through level 50 to play in an exclusive playlist called Newcomer, the very first mode they see when opening up the game, allowing them to play against other newcomers. Smurfing was a problem, but I want to take this idea and expand upon it anyway. When you purchase
I think this guy needs to play Street Fighter, no cap. I think it's actually funny. I think Street Fighter fixes a lot of the issues that this guy talks about, and I think that's part of the reason why Street Fighter 6 is like more successful than most fighting games. Because like it's like even his tier list didn't have Street Fighter, even he didn't play Street Fighter. But like for example, you queue up in Street Fighter, you get to say whether you're a beginner or an advanced player, right? And then you get put in that queue. I think Guilty Gear sorta does it, right? Granblue sorta does it, but like it's not amazing. Because like it could put you in like a higher floor just because you did well against the CPU.
New fighting game,
And it doesn't like have the best filters for like
implementing all the crazy stuff we're talking about in this
gamer
video,
skill.
Like super developmentally.
How do you stop new players from queuing into casual and getting pub stomped? I mean, that's the thing is like you have to have a good gameplay filter and you have to have enough people. The issue is like if one of you guys picked up Granblue right now, you would queue into someone that's like very good, not very good, but like better than you, right? Because there's not as many new players joining the game. Same thing with Strive. It's like, yes, you'll find like after like 10, 20 hours, you'll probably get like some wins and shit. But like, it's still kind of hard to progress like past that initial hurdle of like trying to find like new players. And I think that's not really an issue of the games. It's just like they're not attracting that many new players because like the game's been out for a few years. Where like Street Fighter is still attracting new players, and like the way the rank system works is it filters you into like other new players, right?
This will be controversial, but I think it'd be very, very interesting. Fighting game fundamentals are now broken down into quests into our newcomer playlist. Players only progress towards unlocking the real ranked mode after completing all of these quests. Quests that are backed by context to show you the value of when and where to use the game's mechanic, movement, and whatever else. You'll be pitted against other players, and sure, you can win the match just by mashing away to your heart's content, but you won't actually progress towards your goal. Now, in between matches, you'll see your quest or contract of sorts. This shifts the goal entirely. The game won't say win or lose when your health bar
This
reaches
reminds
zero.
me
It
of
will
the
simply
quest that you have in Hunter x Hunter that people are shitting on, which is like start a combo with an end stance and do 300 damage. Those are the combo trials.
whether or not you completed your goal for the game by the time that this does happen. Quests will span all across the game's system mechanics.
Yeah, I don't know if you really want to lock out like you want to completely lock out like the new player experience going online.
Them to use these individual mechanics.
I think you just need to have a better rank system. The argument you can make is like, yes, like, so for example, like if I boot up a new account on TFT right now, right? I am forced to play, I go straight into ranked. What actually happens is I don't actually play ranked. It tricks new people into thinking they're playing ranked. And what you're actually doing is playing against bots. So you actually play 3 bot games. And so you feel good about yourself. You're like, oh shit, like I'm actually good at this game. Let's go. And like other games do that, like Fortnite's now adding more people bots. So therefore like you know, you can win more and that sort of thing. I don't know if that's really what we want for fighting games, but like that is a theoretical solution.
Toko, won't people just camp and fish for completing their quests that you're talking about? Yes, but they'll quickly learn that that's a bad strategy. Think about it. This system will teach them that they need to be calculated. If your quest tells you to successfully land a super dash in Fighter Z, you will quickly learn that just spamming it to try and cheese out the quest will not work, just like in a real match.
The thing is, maybe if like it's a CPU, but like how do you program this well? If I have a quest against an opponent, and it's the rank quest is land super dash against opponent, the actual most effective way to do it is just cheese it out and mash super dash. And if it gets a CPU, wouldn't it be the same? Like unless you program the CPU to like only anti-air if they don't do it occasionally, like.
And both read the actually useful tip in between matches. Yeah, tips are actually useful now, by the way. You're now both forced to be calculated.
I guess the idea is that you queue up into other people that also do this,
now both learning,
which I think would be very hard in a very segmented player base.
Truly use this mechanic, span this across every mechanic and important normal move, which there aren't really that many.
Like I think you have to do this with bots. Like it's like imagine there's like 20 different quests and you have to queue into someone that's like on that same quest. Like there's just not the player base for that. You have to do it with bots, and it's like yes, you could do that, but like this is just like a normal, I don't know.
Completely honest. And while this list might seem
it's an interesting
like a lot,
idea.
These are just Strive system mechanics. I've watched people from all different backgrounds go from nothing to fully understanding all of these in legit like 2 fucking days. Different people learn at different speeds, yeah, but I think that alone is proof enough that with actually good teaching, you will see people pick up fighting games on average at lightning speeds, bro. The average people.
I actually don't think it'll make. Okay, actually. So there's a couple issues. So what I would do if I'm teaching someone Guilty Gear Strive, I'm only teaching these first 2, bro. No one above like floors, like no beginner player needs to learn how to use the flex shield. No beginner player needs to learn how to use fucking purple Roman cancel and like know the difference. No new player needs to know how to use blue Roman cancel. Like obviously this is just fleshed out, but like even like stuff like yellow Roman cancel, you don't need it as a new player. Right? To me, it's like the way you do a tutorial or the way you teach anyone a new fighting game is you have to make it like as simple as possible. You have to make it as simple as possible. But like, here's like a few mechanics. Just remember these. Remember burst. Remember how to use your meter. And then it's like, all right, let's talk about how like the importance. Like here's how you do a combo, and then it teaches you how to do a combo. And you go in with like a really basic combo. That's how I would structure this. Maybe not like this. Yeah, or here's the auto combo button. Exactly.
What are you doing? This genre, in terms of gameplay, is generally an 11 out of 10 most of the time. Fundamentally 11 out of 10, bro. It has the thrill of fighting a Dark Souls boss, but it's a real-ass person. The satisfaction of feeling yourself get better.
Yeah,
the
fighting games are
fighting
good.
game space, I hope you can agree that fundamentally, some stuff needs to be changed before a mass amount of people are not just willing, but one that has the super strong vibe and don't even try to fuck with any of the other ones. And I think both of them.
Yeah, so I agree. Cool video. I liked it. I agree with most of it. So I think the basic point they're trying to make is like, okay, the games are flawed. Like the games need to be better. I agree. I've been saying this for a while. I think there's nothing wrong with the fighting game genre that holds it back. I think it's the game itself. I'm really surprised. He kind of hinted at a bunch. He's like, if I'm paying $60 for this game, why is there not like a fully fleshed story mode? Why is there not like a good tutorial? My solution has always been make the game free to play. So you don't have to worry about that. But like, you know, he comes at the other perspective. It's like, all right, well, you know, there's different ways to like do better single player. He didn't really talk about like how you make a good single player, but I think there are ways, right? The other thing is like, yeah, tutorials need to be better. I don't know if forcing quests is like exactly how I would do it. You could make the argument if you booted up Strive right now, like a lot of the stuff he talked about is actually in the tutorial. It's just like you don't implementing it in an actual game, right? Do I want to really spend like an hour playing dummy games almost against like bots? I don't know. But at the same time, I think games like League and TFT do it right. I honestly think there are some merit. I know you guys don't want to hear this, but I think there is some merit to bot games. Like in the sense that like if I'm a new player, the last thing as a new player you want is for a new player to go online, get their ass kicked 10 games in a row, and then be like, this game's not for me. 100%. Yeah, I think the quest and matchmaking, that idea is cooked. It's not going to work for fighting games. There's not enough players. But like, I don't want that either. But I think you need something so that when a new player goes online, they don't get their ass kicked a bunch of games in a row. I don't think that's a tutorial issue. I think that's more of like, it's just it's an inherent problem with the game. So if let's say I'm complete trash at Marvel Rivals, I queue up. Either one, I'll be put in a bot game, and therefore I'll win because the bots are ass, and I don't know it's a bot game because I'm complete trash at Marvel Rivals. Or let's say I'm playing against actual people, I'll lose the first couple matches, and then my secret elo will be lower, and then it'll team me up with better players that'll carry me, and then therefore I'll win the game. You can't do that for fighting games, right? Like you can't just stick someone as a game developer. You can't stick someone on a fighting game and then like have them be carried to a win. And that's like, I don't know how you do it. Like this guy right here, like this is exactly what turns people off.
Good at the game, because it's hard to have fun if you're literally never winning.
It is very hard to have fun if you're never winning. So how do you get people to win while spending less time in training mode and less time in a tutorial? I think that's really what matters. Because if you're like, you don't have to win all your matches, but like people just want to win like sometime. They don't want to feel like they're complete dog shit at the game. So how do you do that? I mean, I think in theory, if you have a populated enough player base and this guy is matched against someone of equal skill level, there's no issue. The issue with like games like Strive and Ramblue is that there's just not enough new players coming in that you can have that experience, right? So like the thing is, I don't think it's a mechanic. If I'm teaching someone, like, so for example, I taught Lily Pichu how to play Strive. I taught her like only a few things. I taught her like use burst, use your meter, and spam this combo, right? That's very, very basic. We didn't cover half the mechanics. Why would I ever talk to Lily Pichu about fucking deflect shield? There's no reason. And if their opponent's using deflect shield, they're either one mashing and like it's not gonna make a difference, or two, they're so much better at the game, you're not going to win in the first place. I think the only thing you need to do, in my opinion, the way that you get retention in fighting games is you obviously teach some things, but you teach enough, just the bare minimum, to get them to be able to go online and not lose 10 in a row and make him feel like
But
this
most
dude.
people who play a game like this are really good and they're pretty hardcore about it. So if you're just kind of casually trying to have fun in Street Fighter, I mean, it's probably not gonna work out for you. Just give up like I did and
Yeah.
never play it again. My child.
Yeah, we need people not to think like that, right? So it's like, how do you do that? I do think bot games are a solution. I'm not gonna lie, but then maybe there's a better solution. I mean, rewards for losing is a thing too. League does it well. League and TFT both do it really well. Like I'm dead serious. When I played League and I didn't realize that they were bot games, I typed in the Discord. I was like, bro, I might be the fucking TFT goat. And then I realized as I was typing that, I was like, whoa, fuck, I'm a dumbass. But like, if it can fool someone like me, I feel like it probably fools most people that are very ignorant about TFT, right? Anyways, let me know what you guys think about the video. You could do poll. I think it's a good video. I don't think the quest thing is like fully fleshed out because I don't think it would work with the infrastructure. And I think this guy should play Street Fighter 6 because I think Street Fighter 6 fixes a lot of the issues that he has with fighting games, and it's part of the reason it's successful. But I think overall, like, yeah, he presents a decent amount of points. Yeah, I think the quest idea would slap in single player for sure. Like how do I say, like you could do like it'd be like almost an advanced tutorial. That's how I would implement it. I don't think you could do it against other people. I think either way, like, yes, pretty much all fighting game tutorials could be better. Yeah, World Tour is I think that's what I'm saying. I think Street Fighter 6 does it well. All right, anyways, that's the end of the reaction. Go play Street Fighter 6, I guess. I thought it was a good video. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, and peace.